Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Gracia, and I have a wonderful show planned. But before we get into the show, let's do the normal announcements. First off, if you follow, oops, sorry, wrong. Where is it? At the Wiz Comic on both Facebook and Instagram. 2 strips left after today until I am ending the Wiz for a bit. Uh, Maybe forever, maybe not. We'll find out. But don't forget, it's the holiday season. You can go on to Amazon and pick up your copy of the Whimsical Wiz, the complete 2023 collection. You could also check out some of my Zorro work in Zorro's Exploits and Swordplay and Romance by Bold Venture Press. And you can read the Wiz and other great comics in A Kid in a Comic newspaper, which you just go to akidinacomic.com. And you could find sign up and get. They put out 7 newspapers a year, and this is the 3rd issue, I believe, for this year. No, 2nd. This is issue 8. They're up to issue 9. I just got 9 in the mail the other day, and everything looks great. It's a fantastic comic. Now it's time to bring on our guest. He's been on the show a couple of times now. He's a really funny guy. Does a great comic called Sillyville. All right. And let's bring on David Sullivan. Hello.
Mr. Gracia, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm well. And first things first, congratulations on all the success of the Wiz over the years. And it'll be back. You said it was retiring. I said it's like Sugar Ray Leonard. He retired and he came out of retirement like 3-4 times. Yeah. Great ones do.
I do hope I do hope I get a chance to draw him again, like on a regular basis. It's just right now I don't have the schedule to keep a weekly strip going, and I really do love the character. And honestly, I did not know how loved he was. I mean, I knew I had fans, regular readers, and stuff. But the amount of emails, or Facebook messages you get on social media and things, I was really amazed at how many people were disappointed. But I hope I'm sorry for that, but I do hope that they'll follow me on my future projects.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but again, David, thank you for coming on. Always a good time when you come on. You do a lot of great humor, but even though I'm saying this, let's tell people about you. For those who don't know who you are, give us the rundown of you and your work.
So the sort of abbreviated long story is, little over 20 years ago, I moved to New York to become an actor. Didn't pan out. Apparently you have to be good, something to make it in the industry. So that didn't work out, but I did a little writing at the time. I was writing mainly to have stuff that I could act in myself, but I quickly realized that, that acting was probably where my talents lay. So got into acting. Got into writing, and it's I gave it up for a while. I was writing for a little while. I wrote a sitcom called Layover, which we're hoping to film a little sizzle trail for soon. And then a few years ago, maybe it's going on about 7 years ago, I said something silly in front of my daughter, and I said, "Your daddy's the mayor of Sillyville," and then I was like, "Sillyville? That's a funny word." It's like when Jerry said puke in front of Banya, and Banya's like, "That's a funny word, puke. I should use it." So I did it to myself, but the word was Sillyville, and I was like, that should be a movie, and made it, wrote it. A couple years later, was talking to some investors, trying to get the movie made, and somebody said, "Well, you got to get the brand out there. You got to get the name out there." And they were throwing around ideas, and comics was one of the things they mentioned. I was like, I could do comics. I'm friends with Christian DiMatteo. The biggest Kiss fan you'll ever meet. And we, I got, he really helped me out, and I put out my first comic, which was Sillyville, the movie, the comic, and then Sillyville 2 was the movie, the movie, the comic. But at its heart, Sillyville is a movie. It stars a screenplay. I've written 2 scripts. I finally got a couple shekels together to make some animation, and I was going to release the animation on social media, get it out there, and then I said, you know what, I'd rather do like a big world premiere. And then I said, where do I want to do it? And the first thing I thought of was Gracia. Got to go with Michael Gracia. He's a gentleman, a gentleman's gentleman. I said, I got to do it on his show.
I appreciate that. And for those out there who are unfamiliar with Christian DiMatteo, he was on the show last week. He's one of the half. He's one half of Fugitive Poems. Brilliant writer and great podcast guest that likes to have a little alcohol while he's talking on the show.
And when he's not talking on the show.
And when he's not.
And when he's doing virtually
just whatever. Yeah, no, but he's great guy, brilliant writer, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
What him and James Lyons are doing with Fugitive Poems is amazing and very impressive. And I was very into what he was talking about. And I did forget to announce, I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but you are my last show for the year, my last official show. Normally I do a holiday show, but next Wednesday's Christmas Day, so I'm not doing a show and no one's going to watch. So I'm not gonna do the show. I'm not gonna do the holiday show, and then we got New Year's Day the following week, so I don't do a show that day either. So,
well, no pressure on me then. So,
got to make it good, man. Got to make it.
I'll try.
No, we'll have a great show. Don't worry about it. I'm always a fan of what you're doing. I enjoyed the comics. I wish I had time to go through my comics and pull out issue 2 you sent me, but I did enjoy it.
All right.
It's been a while since I read it. I might need a little refresher. I'm just seeing if I can see it very easily. I don't think I can. It's under my It's under my drawing table. It's just piles of books under there right now. No room for my legs. Just books and art supplies.
Oh yeah. Well, that's good. That you're in the thick of things. So that's perfect. Yeah, I got away. 2024 was interesting because it looks like Christian just logged in, so he missed all those insults you just hurled his way, Michael. So I'll catch him up later. 2024 was interesting because 2023 I really went all out trying to promote the comics. I went to a couple Comic Cons. I went to Providence. I guess it's the Rhode Island Comic Con in Providence, and I didn't have a lot of success there, but I'm really going to get more into promoting the comics next year. What I found is that one of the ways you can get your movie made from comics is if your comic just grows to the point where there's such a demand, like, oh, this needs to be a movie. And it's funny because whenever you start promoting a comic, people assume that's the only route you have. When the fact of the matter is, there's other ways. There's script competitions, there's just networking, there's things like that. So I'm doing it all, but I definitely want to try to really hammer the comics next year. Probably do Boston Comic Con, and my sister lives in San Diego, so I might even go out for the granddaddy of them all.
I haven't been to that one yet. I've had friends who have invited me, but it's just an expensive show to travel to. And you should be booking as soon as possible though for that. For hotel and flights and all that stuff. But are you booking your shows now? Do you have any shows guaranteed for 2025 or?
Not yet. I was surprised how many like smaller ones there are around here. There's a couple of the guys whose podcast I did last year. I think you know Keith Gleason, right?
Yeah, Plastic
Um,
City Comic Con.
yeah, I think I think he's got one of them. Was Lewis Carroll? I think was another guy whose podcast I did. I think he's connected with another one. I'm going to try and get on some of those. I just want to get out there. I did do a meet the author event at at a comic book shop here in Quincy, Massachusetts, the home of John Adams and John Quincy Adams, and that went pretty good. Pretty much everyone, everyone bought a comic that day, which was always good. Enough to pay for lunch after the show.
That's always good.
Yeah.
So, well, before we get into other stuff, do you have an issue 3 planned, or is that written? What's going on with continuing the story?
Possibly. I mean, I have it written. It's just a case of funds. I got to see how much I want to get a table at one of these conventions. Then I'm going to order, additional copies of the 2 comics already. So I gotta look at my budget. Say, is printing a third one? Because I have an artist off of Fiverr. If anyone is looking for someone like that, I can certainly share his information. I mean, usually you have about 5 or 6 great artists in the chat on every one of these. So, but yeah, there's all right. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Thunderzar. Yeah, you like how I Bostoned that up, Thunderzar? So, we'll see what happens as far as that goes. You may not know or forgot. I sometimes forget. My day job is I'm a recruiter, so I spend hours and hours and hours all day scrolling through LinkedIn. So sometimes I don't like to, but at night I'll go through and I'll look for people that look like they might have a title that could be helpful. And I made one good connection yesterday. Guy made a couple connections for me. So yeah, getting out there, doing all that.
That's great. Sorry, just adjusting.
You want to do the first clip now?
Yeah, I was going to get to that. I was just adjusting the screen here, where my windows are. Let me get over here. So, do you want to do the one called One Correction or?
Surprise me.
Okay. All right. So our mics should be muted while this goes on. If you guys don't hear it, let me know. But I've watched these and I do have a couple of questions, having an animation background. So,
all right.
Whoops, sweet. That is not what I wanted to show.
And everyone, just so you know, this is the world premiere, the first time we've had actual animation. I'm going to go over people who don't quite understand how expensive animation is. You're going to see this, and then I'm going to tell you what it costs, and then you're going to say, wow, that's why Disney Pixar costs like $150 million. So enjoy.
All right, here we go.
I saw your dress for tomorrow night.
What's it look like?
It's lovely.
Describe it.
I'm picturing it now.
You're picturing the gorilla again.
You know me so well.
That's a really good joke. I like that.
Thank you. That's so shout out to my buddy Scott Collins and my daughter Genevieve for voicing that. What I did is for the, I knew I wanted to just do a quick 15-second animation. So and I can't draw and one of the things I found is you don't have to be James Lines, but you should be able to draw a little bit to be able to get your ideas in front. Because when I first sent what I did is I just took 2 pages from my comic and said, "Here, let's make these into 15-second scenes." Um, the first the first thing the guy sent me back was just like still shots, I think, and I'm like, no, I want like an actual like scene, and so even that wasn't like what I'd be picturing. Like if you went to the movie theater, paid you $12, and sat down, that's not what I'd be picturing. But I think it gets the joke. You know, people see it and they say, all right, I get the joke, I get the humor, and that 15-second clip and the other one was like a few $100. Let's leave it at that. So again, off of Fiverr, great resource for everything. So yeah, absolutely. It's I'm pleased you enjoyed it. I don't know if you want to do the other one now. You want to talk?
Actually, first I want to watch that one again.
All right.
Just.
I saw your dress for tomorrow night.
What's it look like?
It's lovely.
Describe it.
I'm picturing it now.
You're picturing the gorilla again.
You know me so well.
The reason I wanted to just watch it again is I just want to see how it was put together a little bit more. I can see probably how they did it. I'm not gonna. There's so many different programs they could have used, so I'm not gonna shout out any program. But I like the cuts that they did. That's one of the things when you animate and you do comics. So comics is very much like the storyboard for animation, and and I don't remember the scenes in the comic that you have, but was it zoomed in where it was like a close up on his face where he says, "I saw the dress," and then it cuts and zoom out to the whole room, or was it just the whole? And it was just
it was really a lot like that. I mean, more so than I wanted it to be. It looks like this. So yeah, I guess they were more close up in the script.
Okay.
The other thing he did, and he corrected it a little bit, but you can see I almost said Genevieve because she did that. Francesca Gurglebloinks is the daughter. Francesca's looking at the gorilla, and I wanted her to just look at her dad. It sees that he's like, zoned out in La La Land, and she's like, "You're picturing the gorilla again, aren't you?" And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah. So
it was good. I liked it. I like these little animations. It's like almost like a motion comic, but a little more advanced in the sense of
yeah.
I like it. All right, let's watch the second one here.
Todd, why aren't you in the budget meeting?
What do you think I'm doing?
Budget, not budge-et.
Good. This thing won't budge.
That was another good joke.
So shout out again to Scott, and that was a friend of mine from high school, Sue Dosenberg, who did the voice for that. So that was great. We recorded it right here in this room. So good stuff.
Do you have a good recording setup in there, or just
No. No, not at all. But can't get there we go. I don't know why I keep going off the camera. There we go.
Let's just watch that one more time. I really enjoyed these. This will probably be honestly like my 8th time watching them.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
I've enjoyed these.
Todd, why aren't you in the budget meeting?
What do you think I'm doing?
Budget, not budge-et.
Good. This thing won't budge.
Oh, it makes me laugh every time. I like that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Good. It's really good. Are you planning to do more of these?
I might do a one or two more of that. In fact, I think if I had to choose between doing another comic and so based on the price, if I want to do again like that quality, I could probably do about 5 or 6 more 15-second clips for the same amount of money it take me to do one more comic. So it's a tough call. There's always the possibility of a rich uncle I never met passing away, leaving me a few grand. But right now, that's really what I'm looking at. But yeah, I definitely want to get some more clips. And this, the script's interesting because I think when you read the script as a whole, it's pretty funny. I've had like I said last time, I've had professional actors do table reads of the script multiple times, and it definitely works. Like the humor is geared towards adults as they should be in children's animation.
Yeah.
And especially with the concept like Sillyville, there's enough stuff there. You're throwing enough bones to the kids too that they're going to laugh at everything, just the names of the characters and everything. So, but going through the script, trying to find like just something that's a quick, like 15-second, like boom. I mean, I may end up doing like 30-second clip. That might be a little bit long, but that might be what the next step is.
Okay. All right. That's cool. I did have one question about the animation. So why did you go with like a portrait look instead of a landscape, like you'd be watching like a film or a TV show?
I think I wanted landscape, but you get what you you get what you pay for. I wanted it to. I wanted it to be more like just you watching like whatever, like Frozen or Toy Story, and you'd see like a 15-second clip like that. That's what I wanted it to look like. But I when you get into that, I mean, I was happy that the mouths moved kind of in sync with the audio. I told the guy I don't need somebody who knows how to read lips to be able to like watch it and be like, all right, she's saying this, he's saying that. Like I didn't need that, but I wanted the everything to line up. As far as the way, yeah, I would have done it a little different. Who knows what's happened down the line. I mean, maybe if I get a bigger budget, I might even redo those clips, and do it more like that. There was definitely a miscommunication when I first sent it over. When I first looked at it, that was just like clip, 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 and I'm like, no, that's not. I think the guy was. I think he was in Pakistan. I wonder if he's on. I don't know. Can you tell?
I can't see who's watching individually. I mean,
yeah.
But I can see where people are watching from. Most are on YouTube right now. We got one on Facebook at the moment watching.
All right.
But
I didn't even know you could watch through Facebook.
Yes, my Get in Tune page. So go to getintoon.net on Facebook and you could watch there. I just usually promote the YouTube video because, or the YouTube channel, because when people when I promote on Facebook, I always put the @Get in Tune, so I link it. They could click on the link and they can automatically go there. But any other site I promote on, I promote the YouTube channel.
So I had a question. I'll throw this out to the chat. To the people that keep texting me, telling me to stop rocking, do you mean stop rocking back and forth in my chair, or stop rocking like I should quit my band and give up rocking? Because that ain't ever going to happen. But I could stop rocking back and forth in the chair if that's what you're.
I'll say they probably mean in the chair. I wouldn't tell anyone to do that. Whatever's comfortable to you, I tell you guys to do. That's why I never tell people you can't curse. I won't. But
Yeah.
and if Christian's watching and he knows, if he comes on the show, I already know it's a not for kids show. It's I have a few guests when Ray Felix comes on and a few others that are regulars that But when I turn this off, my mouth is not as clean as it is on air. It's
No,
just
that's
a strange professional thing I do.
yeah. No, funny story was first time I ever did a table read of Sillyville. It was actually me, my daughter, my friend Chris, and his two twin boys. I think at the time everyone was like 10. And I'm like, oh, this is great. There's no swearing. It's totally clean. And then, there's like the stage direction. Dylan made his return. Yes. I didn't see him in the comments last few times I saw you. So I was wondering where he was. In the stage direction, there is a point where I could have said, it's clear everyone has been engaged in levity, but for some reason I wrote everyone's been grab-assing, and when I was reading that, I was like, oh yeah, sorry, Chris, forgot I had that in there, but yeah, clean's the way to go.
Well, you know what? I can't say 100% that's true, but yeah, it's I don't know. It's just my professional nature to like when my friends who know me professionally, like at Comic Cons and at all this stuff, then we go out to eat and they hear me curse. They like all stop and just like look at me, you know.
Well, the thing with humor too is the funniest stuff is the stuff that's not said, the stuff that's implied. I remember the Seinfeld where Kramer was throwing his clothes in the stove,
Yeah.
and just the scene where he's in the Italian restaurant, he's just looking at the oven, and you're like, what he's thinking, and it's so much funnier when he's just sitting there thinking it than when he actually says it. Look at Christian with his
I'll put it back up. Yeah, so you don't have to say it.
Mr. Demon. So I had a comic book general question for you, and
Yeah.
Christian and the other guys here can chime in too. So, like once in a while you hear people say they want to watch a bad movie, like they actually want to watch a bad movie, or like musically. I've been really into Billy Squier lately, who I know is terrible, but when you're in the right mood, it's just so good. And not that I'm planning on doing this, but is there ever a time where people are just like, I just want to read crap. I just want to read like bad comics. Is
I
that a
will
thing?
say it's never happened to me.
Mhm.
I am. I've always said, or what I was actually taught was comics are 70% story, 30% art. So if you have a bad story but good art, you'll sell the first book, maybe the second book, but after that, sales are going to go down. If you have a great story and the art's not so great, you'll keep selling. So no one, and Christian's right. No one's ever said that. I've never said, but you know what? I have Tubi and I watch a lot of bad movies on there. I just go on that for like those low budget, type of movies. And I'm just glad they're free because I wouldn't want to pay money for them. But
Every time I see like a movie that get bad reviews, but the trailer looked good to me, I'm always like, how bad could it be? And then after an hour and a half, I'm like, yeah, that bad. That's how bad it could be. It's but then I watched Everywhere, Everything, All at Once, and I was like, oh, gosh. But then other people are like, that's the greatest movie ever, and I'm like, so I don't know.
I haven't watched that yet. It's on the list. I have a lot of things on my list that I never get to, because I'm trying to read comics more than, right now more than watching stuff. I'm finding myself when I watch TV, I just kind of zone out. When I'm more engaged in comics right now, manga, whatever it is. Let's see. Someone said, "Hello."
Bad comics.
Bad comics are unreadable. Bad movies can be fun. I think reading requires more buy-in. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's but yeah, just getting back to the movies, I don't watch a lot as much as I used to. I'll throw something on maybe on my iPad when I get into bed. I'll take my drawing pad. I'll just sketch for a little bit, and I'll throw something on just as background noise. Usually YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I'm not even watching stuff right now. So, but
That's
one day I'll get back to.
that's the tough. It's so tough to sit down. Usually by the time I get done working, and then I try to work out, I try to do a little bit of Sillyville stuff at night, and then usually I'll plop down in front of the TV at 8, and if a movie's more than 2 hours, I'm not awake at the end of it. There's a 0% chance I'm still awake. So
Well, that's the thing. Like I end my day job at 7 p.m. I go cook dinner, eat dinner, spend time with my wife. We'll watch a little TV, but usually by 9 o'clock, I'm back in the studio or I'm on my iPad if I have to draw like the Wiz or something, or if I have to write, I have to get out of the room usually because I can't have the TV on.
Oh yeah.
So I don't spend a lot of time doing it, but if I do take a night off, I usually pass out on the couch, sitting up, of course, waking up with a couple hours later with a bad neck from how I was sitting or whatever, and then I just get up and go to bed.
Yeah. There's always this thing too where if you keep falling asleep on the couch, you wake up. You can get to bed within 5 minutes. You'll go right out. But if you have to go brush your teeth, finish the dishes, all this stuff, it's not happening. You got your second wind, and you're and it's not happening. So the one movie to throw a loop on the movie conversation, the one movie I saw recently that I actually thought was pretty good. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was very enjoyable. It's called American Made. Had Tom Cruise. It was a story about like the guy who was like a pilot who was smuggling drugs for the Colombians. It was a good movie.
That's cool. I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, about 10 years old, I think maybe.
What I've recently watched. I mean, my wife and I sometimes watch a lot of stand-up comedy.
Oh yeah,
So
Nate Bigazzi, I guess you like him. He's like the big guy now.
he's good. We just watched like a week or two ago on Netflix, Anthony Jeselnik's latest.
Oh yeah, I know.
latest show. What else? Yeah, I don't know. We've watched a lot. I've rewatched First Blood for like the 100th time now. I was on TV the other day, and I'm like, okay, because I can sit and watch that every day. That's like one of my all-time favorites. What is he saying here? Sounds like U.S. Air. I'm not sure about that. I know I feel like I saw that too. That's an old one, right? US
Or is he making fun of the airline? Is U.S. Air even an airline? I don't know.
I don't know. Is that a movie?
Sounds like it should be.
I don't know. I'm so bad with this stuff. It's sad. I'm only 48. You would think I would know. I keep up with this, but no, I feel like an old person half the time, like not knowing who people are anymore. Let's just go to Dylan. Dylan is saying, "Oh, you're making puppets. Awesome. I used to build and perform puppets. Yes, movie with Mel and Robert Downey. Yes, I did see that. That was like, was that like late 90s, early 2000s? I do remember that, like, clips in my head. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, we're going off on some tangents here. I'll do one last movie question for you.
Yeah, hit me.
Are you excited for the Superman trailer tomorrow?
Superman. No. Well, I'm not excited, but I'm not a Superman guy.
Okay.
But actually, my boss is from Metropolis, which I didn't know was a real place.
Indiana, like Metropolis, Indiana, or Illinois, wherever it is.
Illinois, yeah.
Yeah.
Now he lives in Chicago,
Yeah.
but he's never heard of Cheap Trick, who's from Rockford, which is blows me away. But the so, but then on the other hand, I was never a Marvel guy, and then I started watching the movies, and I think I watched the Iron Man, and then I watched Infinity Wars, which is so amazing that anytime I see a list of the greatest Marvel movies, I scroll down to number one. If it's not Infinity Wars, I'm just like, all right, next, because that movie's so good.
Although,
But
yeah,
I liked Thor Ragnarok, and I don't know. Supposedly that's not one of the good ones, but I
that
liked it.
is, yeah, oh God, I can go into like a huge complaint right now. But here's what I'm going to say, and what I always say about the Marvel movies and most movies, because the Snyderverse did this. When you don't pay tribute to the creators properly, and I mean like Jack Kirby mostly, um, I feel like the movies fail. Like Thor was never that. They turned him into a comedy, and even before they got to Ragnarok, his character became kind of comedic. Now I don't mind a little comedy, but when you know Thor, he's a warrior, you know,
Yeah.
and that's the type of you really want to see him embrace the warriorness in him. And the same thing what they did with the Hulk and all those, like the Hulk Avengers is a Kirby creation.
Yeah.
When the Eternals came out, they didn't use the Kirby version of the Eternals. When you look at the Justice League, the Snyderverse stuff, Darkseid is a Kirby creation. It's like all that stuff could have been so much better. Like everyone is always talking about how like the Bruce Timm Batman the Animated Series, the Superman, the Justice League, all those cartoons were great. It was because when they did Superman, the way they figured out was we're going to eventually make Darkseid the big bad, and they embraced the Kirby characters so much that they made Dan Turpin in the Superman cartoon, the detective, look like Kirby. And when they killed off his character, they had a funeral, and it was all. They even brought Marvel characters in without obviously their costumes. Like the Fantastic Four was there. Everybody, it's like whatever Kirby created. It was. He's one of those people I feel who don't get enough credit. Artists love him, but the public doesn't know.
Yeah, it's not a household name. Who was the guy you had on it? You had a guy on that I thought was a pretty impressive grab, like the guy that drew. He worked for Disney, and
I've had a couple of Disney people on, and I'm actually going to have a few more. I'm in the talks with some right now, but I think you're thinking of.
I think he drew Mickey.
Brian, was it Brian Blackmore? I think his name. I'm so bad with the names right now. I had him on about 2 months ago. Let me just go on Instagram real quick here. I have an Instagram tab open. I just want to get his name correct because he's a really cool guy, and I'd love to talk to, I got to reach out to him and talk to him about a few things I've seen. Yeah, Brian Blackmore. If you go to Brian Blackmore Art on Instagram, you'll find him. He worked for, like, I guess it was licensing. I don't remember the exact department he was in, but but a lot of the stuff that like end up on hats or in the background decor and stuff, he designed a lot of that stuff. He said there was I think 15 people or of the team, and everybody did different things. So like the like the Food and Wine Festival, like Mickey in his chef hat, if he drew that might end up on an apron, or the garbage can salt and pepper shape.
Oh yeah,
and stuff. So yeah,
nice.
So he would do that. Yeah, it's a really cool Disney gig. And I was just down there in November, and I actually thought about reaching out to him, but I only had like one day. I had a couple of days in Disney, but it was one day in the park, and
nice.
other things I had planned, so I knew I wouldn't have been able to see him. But he would have been someone cool to like meet up with at Disney Springs. And
yeah, we did Disney a couple of years ago. It's fantastic. It's it really is the the gold standard of amusement parks and things.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
I got to admit, when we were pulling up to the you could see the I almost said golden arches. You can tell where my where my head's at. Where you could see like the the park, and just knowing I was bringing my daughter there, I did get a little misty eyed knowing that I finally got to bring my daughter to Disney. So it
Yeah,
was
no, it's
pretty
nice.
cool.
I'll say I don't have kids, and it's nice with kids because I've went with my nephews. But as an adult, it's so much better without them.
Oh,
That's
it's
how I feel. It's well, you could do things you can't do with kids when you're in the parks. Like I don't know. It's just you don't have to wait online to get an autograph of a princess.
yeah. That was one of the things we used our lightning pass on early on, and we actually, I have a friend who's a big Disney guy, and I told him, like, here's the rides we were able to get on, and like we really crushed it in terms of being able to get on rides. But that was one of the things, was meeting one of the princesses, and I was like, I might have substituted Space Mountain or whatever. But the secret to Disney is this: you got to get the lightning pass,
Mhm.
and then when you in between lightning passes, just go on all the small, less popular rides and kill the hours, and then and then some of those are cool, and even if they're not cool, like, hey, it's still Disney. So um,
I'll tell you, this is how I attack it. Number one, Monday, you never go to the Magic Kingdom.
okay,
Everybody thinks most people's vacation starts on a Monday, and they
Mhm.
think the Magic Kingdom is the place to go. So it's always the most crowded. All right.
Mhm.
When you go to the Magic Kingdom, though, say on a Tuesday or Wednesday, you ride the busy rides, like all the ones that are hard to get onto, when the parades are going on, because
Oh,
people line
interesting.
up to sit and watch the parade. So you run to the Haunted Mansion or to Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever, and you ride those rides. All the
Yeah,
ones that normally have long lines have shorter lines during the parade. You know,
and yeah, and another thing that we did that was interesting was we left around 3 o'clock, went back to the hotel, went swimming, and then went back. And there's that, you reach a certain age, and you're like, well, I don't want to go out. I'm not going to go out. Like, like the whole, if I go home after work, I'm not going to go to the gym, that sort of thing. But with Disney, especially the money you're paying to get in the park, like, yeah, you're going to go back. And yeah, that was good. So listen, Christian wrote in the comments that I wrote a Cheap Trick musical, which is true. I wrote,
oh wow, you did you?
yeah, I wrote a musical called Dream Police, and it's like Jersey Boys, or what's what, yeah, I forget. There was another one. Uh, I forget who some of the other ones, but there's where every song is a Cheap Trick song. It's like a musical, and like, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, but
Sometimes will make up stupid songs,
yeah,
and I just do it for fun. It's one of those things. I could even be just sitting there cooking and just make up stuff. I'll make it up when I'm feeding my cat, whatever. And I started one day writing a Green Lantern musical, just
oh,
singing
nice.
songs about Hal Jordan. I was making stuff up as I was going out throughout the day, and I was like, "Oh, I should really write this down." I never wrote any of it down, but
Do you forget it all?
I kind of have a few things. Hold on.
Yeah.
Where's my mouse here? I just want to see what is Christian saying. He said,
Moving Out.
"Oh, moving out." Billy
That
Joel.
was one. That was one we forgot. Yeah.
I never saw that one, and Billy Joel's like my all-time favorite. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. I wrote probably the first thing I ever wrote was a musical called Colonel Clink's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and that was all Beatles songs, but they were all parodies of Beatles songs. So, there was like, "Hey, you've got to throw your trash away," and Colonel Clink's, and then Helen Keller instead of Helter Skelter.
Yeah,
and all the verses are just all different, like Helen Keller jokes put to music. It was, yeah, it's pretty good. I lost it over the years, but I think I could probably write the whole thing again from memory.
have you seen that? And I saw it as a clip. I think on like an Instagram reel. It's like a Helen Keller musical. I don't know if it's a joke or whatever. And it's somebody saying Helen Keller's turn to sing, and she just
Yeah,
sits there.
yeah, I've seen that.
That
Yeah,
cracks me up. Hold on, hold on. First of all, Joe M says Kyle Rayner greater than Hal. Um, Now, Kyle Rayner is great. I will say that I've read his entire run when he first came out for the first like 100 books, but I don't know. I mean, Hal Jordan is considered like the perfect Lantern. I mean, I go back to Alan Scott. I mean, I love the Golden Age. Uh, you know, even got to
maybe
meet Martin Odell, who was the creator of him.
maybe he means Hal Linden, who played Barney Miller. Is that what you mean, Joe? Hal Linden? Maybe it could
No,
be.
Kyle was great. I mean, I really enjoyed his story. I don't know if you ever read that, but when he was the only Lantern where they were just like, "Here's a ring, go, see you later," and they just tossed him out. But he was an artist, so he's very creative in the way he attacked stuff. But yeah, no, Hal to me was always, you know, always the Green Lantern that I truly love. Do I even have Hal out here? No, I don't have it. Oh yeah, I do. I have my little Hal right on my desk there.
Oh, nice. So what Comic Cons are you doing this year? I know last year you didn't.
I'm still on the point where I'm not doing shows. I will probably do 2 or 3 shows that I do because I still sometimes run kids sections. And I do, when I do them, like there was a Undiscovered Realm Con in White Plains, New York.
Mhm.
I ran the kids section there last year, and well, I ran it with my friend Mike Lopez, and I have a feeling I'm going to do it again this year, so I'll be there.
Nice.
I'm not announcing it officially because I don't know. I don't know. Nothing's confirmed, so I am looking around at a few things.
I was thinking of Terrificon. It
And
is
that's where Fugitive Poems will be, and they'll be at Undiscovered Realm. It's what do we got here? I can't even, oh, Kapow. And let me just go to Joe real quick. It's maybe fair enough, maybe more musical. I will say though, I really did love the Hal story back. Was it late '90s when he was the Spectre? And I've always wanted to write a movie where we start off Hal as the Spectre, and we tell his story and then let Kyle take over. Anyway, but back to cons. Yeah, no, Terrificon's a great show. I haven't done it in a very long time. But yeah, I still don't have the product. I mean, I have some copies of, A Kid in a Comic newspaper where we got some really great stuff in here. So if you guys don't subscribe, you should. I got copies of my Wiz book. I got a few copies left of the Zorro books I've worked on. I got some prints in the work. But what I really want to do is put out some books of. I got a couple of superhero stories in me. I got a few things that I have 2 manga ideas in me. So I really want. I was going to try to get back into shows this year, but what I really want to do is spend this year, and if I can, I'd like to get 3 books done. That's my target, to have 3 books done by the end of this year. And these are some of the things I've thought about while I was doing these books, while I was planning out how I'm going to do it. Number 1, I'm colorblind. I've mentioned that many times on the show.
No.
So I don't want to work in color anymore. Outside of covers and maybe some important splash pages, I don't want color in my books anymore. I want to go grayscale
All right.
and play with tone. I want to, you know, I don't know. I just have a lot of stuff. I have some educational books in me. So I taught for basically 20 years, and most of it was on the college level. I still teach private tutoring on occasion. What I want to do is take my lectures that I've done and workshops that I've created and courses that I've created, and just take my lectures and turn them into books. You know, so
Right.
that's something I'll be doing. Art wise, I don't know how I'm gonna, how I've decided to do the artwork for them yet, or if it's going to be a very art heavy book, because again, these are my lectures. Let me see, Christian. I know what you just said. I'm sorry. You should talk to Ray Felix. I don't do that stuff, but I do have. I will say I do have some more mature themed stories in me. Christian knows about one, about a caveman, and it's or actually more of a barbarian.
Christian would really be interested in that too.
Yeah.
Oh, when did you say caveman?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
I thought you said something else. Never mind.
it's more of an actually barbarian story. But yeah, no, I have, and it's more of, it's not like sexual or anything. It's more violent in there, and I don't know. Sometimes you draw pictures, and it's like, or you think of like, I don't know, like how a fight would go,
Yeah.
and you think, okay, well, if I had this weapon on me, like, okay, this is an example of how my mind works sometimes. So I worked for a specific school where I worked with kids with learning issues. I had some students were like drug addicts. Social anxiety, anger management issues. It was a very specialized school I worked for. And we had training, sometimes they bring in people who will train you. Oh, what if someone comes in with a gun, or how to, and they teach you how to protect and what to do. So like, there was this guy, he worked for the CIA, who came into our school. And he worked, I believe he worked for Obama when he was president, like as one of the security. And he would go around the room, basically, if you needed to if someone broke into the room, if you were trying to fend off, like block the door, and they broke in, what would be a weapon in this room that you could defend and protect yourself and the students in there with? And I'm like looking around the art room, and I'm like, holy crap, what do I have? So now, like, when I enter places, I look around and I'm like, okay, if something happens, what do I do? Because this guy put this crap in my head.
Well,
so like,
yeah,
right.
I got the same thing when about 20 years ago they had the fire at the nightclub in Rhode Island, and once that happened, forever after that, everywhere I'd go, I'd go to a club in New York, because I moved to New York not long after that. There'd be, the happening place. I'm looking for all the fire exits. I'm going around looking for the fire exits before I do anything else. It's funny you mentioned being colorblind, because I actually saw a YouTube video today. It was only 6 minutes long, or like 8 or 9, whatever. It said, why couldn't ancient people see blue? And it was actually fascinating that they didn't have and there was this tribe in Africa that didn't have a word for blue. And they showed them like 20, I think it was like 12 green dots and 1 blue dot. And they said, pick out the blue dot, and they couldn't. But then they showed them 12 green dots, and one of them was a very slight shade less, to the point where I watched it, like, I can't tell which one's different. And everyone, like, right away was like, that one's different. And they said it was all because they didn't have a word for blue. and they had so many different words for different shades of green that they could pick it out like that. It was really fascinating. Maybe I'll make that a big theme of Sillyville 3. So if anyone has any ideas, they can drop it in the chat, because I have the next comic book all written. Literally it's written. I just need to do it. I'm kind of on. I'm kind of got some writer's block on the next movie. What the feature movie is going to be, and the sad thing is the sequel I wrote to the original Sillyville script actually isn't going to be the second movie. So the second script I wrote is called Infinity Sequels, and it's a parody of Infinity Wars, except in Infinity Sequels, it's Thermos, and he has to get the Stone of Peace from Mayor Gurglebloinks in Sillyville, and he can't use violence to get it because it's the Stone of Peace. And then he's in Sillyville trying to think of all these different ways to get it from him. And then there's the Arrangers, who are the ones who are sworn to protect the stone. So there's the Guardians of the Galleria, Thorn, the Hunk, everyone's just a parody of the Avengers, but I call them the Arrangers. So that's more of like a, outside of the pattern, like you throw it out there based on whatever Marvel's doing. So I technically don't have like a sequel to Sillyville. So if anyone's got an idea about, what a silly town can be, just you can DM me after. By the way, before we forget, can we throw up the link to?
I actually was just about to. I just copied it. I'm putting it in the chat now. All right, you guys can. It's going to all the sites we're streaming on right now.
Nice.
You guys can click the link and get a copy of Sillyville.
Yes, and if you're in the greater Weymouth area, I will find a time to meet up with you in person to autograph it. And if not, if it's one of your viewers in Europe or Asia, or it's an international platform here. I'll figure out something.
I actually have a couple in Europe. I don't know about Asia, but I know I have a couple in Europe who watch occasionally.
I think you got St. Lucia last time I was on. I think one of my in-laws from St. Lucia was listening. So yeah.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I sometimes, when I do my live streams in the morning, like if I do it before I start my day job, I'll get people from like Ireland watching.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Where my grandparents are from. Yeah.
No, that's cool stuff here. Listen, I mean, I know we sidetracked a lot, but let's get back. Is there anything? I know we've been talking, but anything with? How do I say this? I mean, I know you're thinking about the animation and going that route. If you were to like, I'm if the animation, you said you could probably get something like, say, 10 shorts for the price of a book.
Yeah.
Would that, if and 10 shorts at, say 15 seconds,
right.
Whatever that is, 150 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So, is that right? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
So that's a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Would you be able to create do you think you'd be able to create a seamless story that's like a 2.5 minute story?
That's interesting. And this is one of the challenges with writing comedy too, is that you have to move the story along somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And there's always these moments where you've kind of put the comedy in the back seat, and you're kind of driving the story, and then kind of taking the comedy back a little. And it's tough. I know what you're saying. That would be interesting. Can do Christian, and So yeah, that is something I would consider doing. Yeah, Christian is referring to back when I used to be a boxer. I would score a lot of first round knockouts, like Iron Mike Tyson. So that's why I got so much done in 2 minutes, just like Mike Tyson.
But yeah, no, I'd like to see. I mean, the animation I liked. So I could, you know what you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like an animated children's book. You remember, like you'd
Hmm.
sit and watch like a children's book get animated, and like they'd show it to you in school or something. That's kind of what it reminds me. And I have a little um what's it called? I have a little place in my heart for those type of things because I love that type of stuff. What does
Yeah,
he say here?
Touchamania, we won't get into that.
Oh, okay. I won't.
Oh no, I'll say what the Touchamania joke was. Everyone thinks it's dirty and it's not. It was we just made up the most random scenes. It was my radio show in college. One episode we went off and would be like, you know, what about that scene in Touchamania 42 where John Travolta, plays ping pong against Jabba the Hutt? And, just the most random stuff you could think of. That was like this thing. And people would call up and say, oh, what about Touchamania 13 when, the Iron Sheik, plays badminton against, Thurston B. Howell the third. It's just the most random stuff. So that's what that is. What I'm yeah, what I'm hoping to do with the animation and this that Vincent that actually just chimed in is the social media guru to the stars, um, and the I want it to be the point where some of the clips start to go viral, and when you see a clip, it comes up in your algorithm in Instagram, and you're like, what is this? I keep seeing this. What is this? That, and then you want to check it out, and that's the end goal. Um, and like I say, I want to attack it from two different ways. I want to do the the comic to build up a name, and I want to also just be reaching out. I'm like I say, I'm reaching out on LinkedIn all the time. It's the way I see it is like it's similar to a lottery ticket. I mean, I know the odds are like one in 100,000, 200,000 that someone's going to see the script and be like greenlit. That's the odds. But at the same time, I'm like people play the lottery, and if that's like one in 30 million, and so and it's a it's good to feel like you're being productive too. I don't like to go like straight from work to the couch, and
Yeah.
sit there for 6 hours. And unless the Celtics are on. But the thank you, Christian. The I like the idea that I'm just I'm going for it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I just want to go to Christian's comment here about remember the old Marvel limited animation cartoons. Yes, and there is a YouTube channel that has I think it's either 4 or 6 hours. It's every single cartoon that you can watch of them, and I will turn that on every so often and watch it.
You want to hear how old I am? That I remember. I remember buying a 45, and there was like a picture book for Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you played the 45 and you looked at the picture, and then you'd hear a whip sound and you turned the page and looked at the next picture, and they'd
That is
talk
awesome.
about that picture.
I have. I'll tell you in a second, but I like this comment. Playing the lottery means you can win millions, but you only ever lose $1. I have, and a friend gave them to me, but I used to have them when I was a kid. One of them, it's a Batman and Robin, and I also have the Wonder Woman. It's a picture book like you were just mentioning, and it's an audio tape, so it's not the 45.
Oh,
It's a tape, And
Yeah.
I still have the tapes, and I don't know if I have the Wonder Woman book anymore, but I have the Batman and Robin book, and it's the same exact thing. You put in a cassette player, you listen, makes a noise, you turn the page. It's a little.
Christian obviously logged out because I thought of a couple really obvious jokes about the Wonder Woman book that I assumed he would have made by now. So,
Oh no, he's still here. He's just a slow typer tonight.
yeah, too much scotch.
I was about to say. But yeah, no, it's no, but those things are cool. I love those things. And, I was actually looking at, I don't remember what it was, but you just reminded me. I was looking at something Indiana Jones the other day, and now I don't remember what it was. Wine tonight. Oh,
Wine.
that's what he's saying. Wine tonight. Let's see. What's that? Dude.
I was considering having a couple pops prior to the coming on board, but trouble is this: I'm on this diet where I eat one meal a day, and so then when I eat lunch every day, that's the first thing I've eaten in like 22 hours, right?
Yeah.
So even just like having like one beer like screws up the whole thing. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be good. And
I only eat twice a day now, but the only thing I do is I have a cup of coffee in the morning. That's it.
Yeah.
And I don't eat. My first meal is somewhere between noon and 2 p.m. And
Nice.
then I don't eat again until about when I make dinner at between 7 and 7:30, like when it's done. So I won't eat again until there. I'll eat till about 8 if I can, and I don't eat again for a while. So
yeah, I like this diet. People say, oh, I can't do it. I like to eat too much. I'm like, yeah, well, you get this one meal every day where you can eat like as much. If I told you what I ate for lunch today, you'd be shocked that a human being could consume that. But again, like however many calories that is, that's still that's still what you would take in a day. It's just your body spending more time burning it off. So yeah, but with Sillyville, I'm just plugging away. I know the script works. I know that people seem to enjoy the comic. I'm just gonna keep going. I got a little bit of inspiration from Monday night. I was playing basketball, and with guys like 20 years younger than me. In fact, one guy that I was on my team was literally 28 years younger than me that I was playing with. And as we say in Boston, I couldn't hit the side of the barn all night. And the last game I played all night, the last shot I took was a 3-pointer from Steph Curry range, nailed it, game winner. We won, walked off. And I thought, you know what? This is the mentality you got to have when you're pitching your script and pitching your thing is you can go 0 for I'm 0 for 4 or 5 years right now. But once you just get that one yes and it's boom,
that's all you need. It's just that one person that says, yeah, I believe in this,
Yeah, and it's some people, they start a business, there's a thing they say, what is it, 90-something% of small businesses fail after the same year. Well, those people are putting way more money into it than I am. They're doing cold calling. They're killing themselves. I'm still working a day job, and I'm still getting by. Look at that Celtics reference from Joe. Love it. So yeah, never give up, never stop trying, and that's my attitude. 2025 is going to be a good year.
Yeah,
In fact, I always have this like dream that, and this is I kid you not, I actually thought about this one time, that if Sillyville ever got made into like a big movie, and then we were like going to announce the sequel, I would honestly like come back to this podcast and say, and like imagine that if like Toy Story 5 was going to be announced, and like they announced it on your podcast. Like that's
I believe Toy Story 5 was already announced.
was it announced?
I don't know. I have a feeling. I
Probably.
don't know. We'll see. But yeah, no, that would be great. Listen, you can come on anytime and announce any project you're working on. I am happy to have you on. I'm happy to be the first show you announce it on, just like Fugitive Poems. When they have an announcement, they come on. And outside of one, I think I've always been their announcement show. But yeah, no, I'm happy to do that. Listen, when I see projects that I like, that I want to support, and if I can't support financially, this is the way I could do it. It's don't be sorry, Christian. It happens. I'm not
It's going to
upset.
happen again.
I mean, the crying's over, so I'm not upset anymore. But yeah, it happens.
Well, the other thing too is, and I can say this for real, like like I mentioned, like Keith Gleason earlier, like great guy, really
Keith's awesome.
great
Yeah,
guy.
friend of mine.
It's when you go to Comic-Con, outside of when I go to church, it's literally like just the nicest, best people to be around. Every time I go, every time and the couple Comic-Cons I went to, I had a great time, and I probably wouldn't have gone if I wasn't doing my own stuff, and a lot of the friends I made doing it. It's a great thing to be involved in, and like I say, you can get done with work and crack open a beer and just sit there and watch South Park all night, or you can spend your time doing something productive, something you love to do, and it will happen. It will happen.
Yeah, no, it will. It will. You just gotta put the time into it. Like I said with the Wiz when we first came on, I did not realize how many fans I actually had. Like how many people wrote me, and those who know me personally that called me, that were sad to see that I'm ending it right now. And I got some people who I have known as professional, syndicated, cartoonists write me, and say I've enjoyed the strip, and I understand what it is. Hard decision, things like that. Everybody's talking there. They were like, some people are like, you really have something here, and like I said when I made my announcement, if I didn't have other stories in me, I could draw the Wiz forever. I really could.
Yeah.
But I have too many other ideas. Some are still comedic, and some are things the Wiz could appear in. But I also have, adventure stories in me, and, superhero stories in me, and historic stuff. Like, I'm a big fan of Westerns. And although I suck at drawing horses, and something I've been practicing, every time I have to draw Zorro on a horse, it's like the worst thing for me. But, I have some humorous, like, Westerns or frontierish type of stories. I've always been a big fan of, like, Davy Crockett and Daniel Boone and those type of people. Little House on the Prairie has always been one of my favorite shows.
Oh yeah.
The original series, not the remake stuff they did years later. But like the original series was one of my favorite shows. I still watch it to this day. And I just love that type of lack of technology, more of the primitive lifestyle, in the sense of how did these people have to survive, growing their own crops, churning their own butter, whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
like that type of living intrigues me. I would never want to do it, but that type of living intrigues me. So I love those type of characters.
It is fascinating, especially like I was, we're doing the Old Testament in church now, and you hear about like these kings with these lavish palaces, and I'm like, they would trade places with me to like sit on a couch with the TV and and be able to order a pizza like in probably in 2 seconds. Like have the running water, the plumbing, everything like that. Plus, my wife's obviously way better looking than any woman that was the king would have been married to. I don't care how many wives they had. Nadine would have blown him away.
But that's the thing. So like I have stories like that I want to tell. I said Best Western was the original Kung Fu. Yeah, that was a good show.
I almost watched The Unforgiven. I was flipping through the other day and I was like, should I watch this? Because I remember that was really, really good. The like 92, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Those are the type of things and we don't see a lot of them. Actually, I think was it Christian when you were on the show we discussed westerns, or was it me talking to someone else just recently that we discussed westerns, why they're not popular anymore right now? And actually, I think I did that at a party I was at on Sunday. But yeah, no, it's I don't know if you ever read Lucky Luke, which was like I forget what country, but it's like a Belgium comic, and it goes back to God, did it come out in the 60s maybe or the 50s?
Lucky Luke,
but it was their idea of what American cowboys were like.
Interesting.
So I have. I just saw a copy of it the other day. I don't know. I just moved books around on my bookcase, so I don't know where it is right now. But yeah, no, it's. Hold on, I'll show you a Lucky Luke character, and
Luke?
it's kind of a comedy.
Luke was the name of my band in college.
Really?
Yeah, Luke.
So let's find a better image, and share screen. So this right here is Lucky Luke. Oh, as you say here, Lucky Luke is great. Yeah. What is?
Looks like Bob Denver from here.
So, but yeah, no, Lucky Luke was a really great comic. I'm trying to figure out where my mouse needs to go to. Oh, there it is. Just so we can see different characters. And this was a big influence on me. I discovered Lucky Luke maybe high school, early college is when I first started like checking this stuff out. I got into Asterix. I got into all the only thing I read before this was Peyo stuff and really just the Smurfs from this style, when I was younger. And then it was when I found out that they had more stuff like this, I just, I fell in love with this stuff.
Yeah.
But I do have like a comedic Western in me, but there've been, I don't know. I just don't know if it's something that would sell right now. So I got to think about.
There would have to be a spin on it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if a straight Western would work. I talked to a guy a couple years ago. Told me the only show he watches is The Rifleman. Like literally, it's the only show he watches.
That's funny.
All right. I guess. So.
Yeah. Anyway, man, I think we should maybe wrap up. I don't know what else we can talk about, but I am truly loving all the stuff. But before we go, what I'm going to do is I want to show your animations one more time so people.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I thought they were great, so let's watch them each again here.
Yeah, for the people who tuned in late. Yeah, let's do it.
I saw your dress for tomorrow night.
What's it look like?
It's lovely.
Describe it.
I'm picturing it now.
You're picturing the gorilla again.
You know me so well.
That's a great joke.
Why aren't you in the budget meeting?
What do you think I'm doing?
Budget, not budge-et.
Good. This thing won't budge.
So good.
Thank you. Yes, the world premiere of Sillyville, and it's when everyone here is watching, seeing little kids go trick or treating dressed like Mayor Gurgleblanks or Officer Fructose or Handsome Harley Face or Millie McGillicuddy or Francesca Gurgleblanks or any of the other. Got to laugh at 100-yard dash. Love it. So you can all say, yes, I was there. I saw the world premiere on the Get in Tune. Thanks, Dylan. On the Get in Tune live stream. I was told this is a live stream, not a podcast.
Yeah, it's a live stream. It's not I call it a podcast. It's not. I could turn it into one. I could download the audio and just pop it up on a podcast site, but it defeats the purpose of showing all these audio clips and stuff. So.
Well, the if a word is misused enough, the dictionary people will just change it.
Yeah.
So like verbal means words, oral means spoken. So when people say verbal contract, they really mean oral contract. Any contract is going to be verbal. It's obviously has words, but everyone misused it so much that eventually the dictionary people like, nah, screw it. Verbal contract is spoken, whatever. So yeah, we can call it a podcast. We just got to keep doing it.
Whatever. It is what it is. It's a show. That's all I'll call it. It's just a show. Little thing to entertain some people who enjoy comics and comic people.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we'll can't remember what, anyway. We'll figure out the proper terminology. Actually, you coming up with the thing just reminded me of something. There's this guy I watch. I used to watch him on TikTok, but I don't go on TikTok anymore, really. And I watch him on Instagram. He's this chef who just watches, people make recipes, and he basically makes fun of them because they're always like bad recipes usually. And when people pull out that jar of garlic, he started calling it jarlic. And it's now going into the dictionary. He did a post about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you go to the supermarket and you go and buy that jar of like minced garlic, it's now called, it's now referred to as jarlic.
Oh, interesting. Wow. That's crazy. Merry Christmas, Dylan.
Yes, Merry Christmas, Dylan. Thanks for watching. Yes, we are going to wrap up tonight. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for actually being my last official guest of the year. If I do another Get in Tune show or a live stream and I bring someone on, it's going to just be a spur of the moment pop-up before the end. But this is the last official Get in Tune of the year. I will be back. What is it? I guess it would be January 8th would be the next, because we got Christmas next week on the 25th, right. Then New Year's Day. So the 8th, I'll be back with a new guest. Well,
they say save the fifth worst for last. So that's what you got.
So don't forget, in the comments there are the links to that you could find. Let me drop it in the comments again if you came in late.
Yeah.
This is where you can get a copy of Sillyville. All right. And while you're clicking that link, don't forget to go on Amazon and type in The Whimsical Whiz and get a copy of the complete 2023 collection. Go to akidinacomic.com and get your subscription to a newspaper. All comics. I don't know if you guys know that this newspaper is nothing but comic strips. All right. Humor strips, adventure strips. It's all fantastic in here. Bold Venture Press, or just type in Zorro's Exploits or Zorro's Swordplay and Romance on Amazon or on Bold Venture Press, and you can get some Zorro books I worked on. I didn't do the whole thing, but I illustrated one story in Swordplay and Romance and two stories in in Zorro's exploits.
But not the horses.
No, the horses are terrible. I actually drew it a little bit in like that Batman the animated series style because I knew this is a little thing. I knew that in the Justice League cartoon, a couple of the Justice League members go back in time and they meet like Jonah Hex and they ride horses. So I'm like, oh, I can look at the horses. If I draw in that style, I can basically copy the horses from that episode. So I don't have to, change the style. But so, yeah, that's that. Anyway, with that, you guys, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.
Hang out for a moment. Thanks again for coming on. Everybody, have a great Christmas, great holiday, great New Year, or whatever you celebrate. I will see you guys in the new year. All right. Thanks for watching regularly. Thanks for reading The Wiz. I appreciate it all. All right. Bye, guys.